Do you feel in control of your life? Right now, do you believe you could choose to stop, to get up, to do something entirely different? This sense of agency is a fundamental part of the human experience. Yet what if our belief in free will is an illusion? What if our choices are preordained results of a chain of cause and effect? This is the question posed by the debate between determinism and free will. It's a debate with profound implications for how we understand ourselves. If our lives are predetermined, what does that mean for our hopes and dreams? This essay delves into this complex debate. We'll explore both sides, examining the evidence and arguments. Our goal is to encourage you to think critically about this aspect of the human condition. By the end, you might not have all the answers. You might even find yourself more uncertain. But that's okay. Because the value of philosophy lies in asking difficult questions and pursuing understanding. Determinism, in its starkest form, paints a picture of the universe as a giant clockwork mechanism. Every event, from the smallest subatomic interaction to the grand sweep of history, is seen as an inevitable consequence of the laws of physics and the initial conditions of the universe. Imagine a line of dominoes stretching back to infinity. The first domino falls, knocking over the second, which in turn knocks over the third and so on, in an unbreakable chain reaction. This is the essence of determinism. We are all dominoes in this grand cosmic setup, our actions preordained by the events that came before us, leaving no room for true choice or free will. There are different flavors of determinism. Hard determinism takes the most extreme stance, asserting that free will is an illusion, and that all our actions are predetermined. This view raises uncomfortable questions about moral responsibility. If our actions are not truly our own, can we be held accountable for them? However, not all determinists believe that free will is incompatible with a predetermined universe. This more moderate view, known as compatibilism or soft determinism, attempts to reconcile free will with the idea of a deterministic universe. Compatibilists argue that while our actions may be causally determined, we can still be considered free if our actions are the result of our own desires and beliefs, even if those desires and beliefs themselves are ultimately the product of prior causes. On the other side of the ring stands free will, the champion of human agency and autonomy. Proponents of free will argue that we are not merely cogs in a machine, but active agents capable of making genuine choices that shape our own destinies. Free will in its essence is the ability to have done otherwise. It's the power to choose between different courses of action, unconstrained by external forces. This ability to choose, free will advocates argue, is what gives our lives meaning and purpose. One of the most compelling arguments for free will comes from our deeply ingrained sense of moral responsibility. If our actions are predetermined, how can we be held accountable for them? Our entire system of ethics and justice seems to rest on the assumption that we have the capacity to make choices, and are therefore responsible for the consequences of those choices. Furthermore, some proponents of free will point to the realm of quantum mechanics, where events are governed by probabilities rather than strict determinism. They argue that the inherent randomness at the quantum level could trickle up to the macro level, injecting an element of chance and unpredictability into human behavior. Is there a way to reconcile the seemingly contradictory notions of determinism and free will? Compatibilism, also known as soft determinism, attempts to do just that. It offers a middle ground, suggesting that free will and determinism are not mutually exclusive. Imagine a river flowing down a mountain. The river's course is constrained by the terrain, by the laws of physics. Yet within those constraints, the water is free to flow, to meander, to carve its own path. This is akin to the compatibilist view of free will. Compatibilists argue that our actions are indeed influenced by a web of prior causes, but this doesn't negate our freedom. We are free as long as our actions are caused by our own internal states, such as our desires, beliefs, and values, even if those internal states are themselves the product of prior causes. For example, imagine you are offered a piece of cake. You might be predisposed to enjoy cake due to your genes or your upbringing. However, the ultimate decision of whether to indulge is still yours. You can choose to resist the temptation based on your own values and goals, such as maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Section 5. Quantum leaps and the will physics to the rescue. The world of quantum mechanics, with its bizarre and counterintuitive laws, has provided new ammunition for the debate between determinism and free will. Unlike classical physics, which depicts a universe ruled by predictable cause and effect, quantum mechanics introduces an element of randomness and uncertainty into the equation. At the subatomic level, events don't unfold with clockwork precision, but are governed by probabilities. Particles don't exist in definite states, but rather in a fuzzy cloud of possibilities, their fate determined by chance rather than deterministic laws. Could this inherent randomness at the quantum level somehow bubble up to the macroscopic world, influencing our thoughts, decisions, and actions? Some proponents of free will believe so. They argue that quantum indeterminacy could provide the necessary wiggle room for free will to operate, allowing us to make genuinely free choices that are not predetermined by the past. However, the link between quantum randomness and free will is tenuous at best. Even if quantum events do influence our brains, it's not clear that this translates to genuine free will. After all, being subject to random quantum fluctuations doesn't seem any freer than being at the mercy of deterministic laws. Section 6. Responsibility's weight. Does it demand a free will? The implications of the determinism versus free will debate extend far beyond the realm of abstract philosophical musings. They cut to the heart of how we understand ourselves and our place in the world, shaping our views on morality, justice, and personal responsibility. One of the most contentious aspects of this debate is the question of moral responsibility. If our actions are predetermined, can we truly be held accountable for them? If our choices are not truly our own, but rather the inevitable consequences of a chain of causes stretching back to the Big Bang, does it even make sense to punish wrongdoing or reward virtuous behavior? Hard determinists argue that holding people morally responsible for actions they were predetermined to perform is akin to punishing someone for the color of their eyes or the day they were born. They believe that our legal and moral systems need a radical overhaul, shifting away from retribution and punishment towards a more compassionate and rehabilitative approach. On the other hand, proponents of free will argue that moral responsibility is essential for a functioning society. Without the belief that people have the capacity to choose between right and wrong, our entire system of ethics and justice crumbles. They believe that holding people accountable for their actions is not only just but also necessary to deter future wrongdoing and encourage moral behavior. Section 7. The self-you-make identity in a determined world. The concept of personal identity is intertwined with free will. If our lives are predetermined, does this diminish our sense of self? If we are not the authors of our own stories, who are we? Determinism challenges self-creation, the idea that we mold ourselves into who we aspire to be. Even within determinism, there's room for agency. Our experiences and choices shape who we become. Imagine a sculptor working with marble. The marble has a form, but the sculptor shapes it. Similarly, we navigate life's challenges and opportunities. Section 8. Living with the unknown, choosing meaning regardless. The debate between determinism and free will is unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. It's a philosophical conundrum that has occupied thinkers for centuries, and it's likely to continue doing so for centuries to come. But perhaps the true value of this debate lies not in finding definitive answers, but in the questions it forces us to confront. Whether we ultimately subscribe to determinism, free will, or some nuanced position in between, wrestling with these ideas can enrich our understanding of ourselves and the world around us. It can prompt us to examine our own beliefs, values, and motivations, leading to greater self-awareness and personal growth. Moreover, contemplating the nature of free will can inspire us to live more deliberately, to make choices that align with our values, and to strive to leave a positive mark on the world. Even if our actions are ultimately predetermined, knowing that we are part of a vast and interconnected web of cause and effect can instill a sense of responsibility for our actions and their impact on others. Section 9. The enduring question. So, are we truly free? The answer, like the universe itself, remains shrouded in mystery, but regardless of where you stand on this age-old debate, one thing is certain. The human spirit yearns for freedom, for agency, for the ability to shape its own destiny. Whether this yearning is an echo of some inherent truth about the universe or simply a comforting illusion, it's a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit, our insatiable curiosity, and our unwavering belief in the possibility of something more. As you go about your life, making choices big and small, remember this. The debate between determinism and free will is not merely an intellectual exercise. It's a question that lives and breathes in every decision you make, every action you take, every thought that flits across the stage of your consciousness. And perhaps, in the end, the most important thing is not finding the right answer, but rather embracing the mystery and living a life worthy of the freedom we so deeply desire.